get ready for this. We're going deep on bananas today.
Bananas.
Bananas. It sounds, I know, basic, right? But honestly, the stuff you sent about these genetically edited, non-browning bananas, like, blew my mind.
Yeah, it's really fascinating stuff. It's way more than just bomb. Like a cool trick, though, this technology could actually change how we think about food waste globally. You know, it could even reshape whole industries.
Seriously, it's wild. So we're going deep on the science behind it, why this matters, and what's next for the humble banana. But first off, did you know that 5 billion bananas are tossed out every year just in the U.S.? 5 billion.
It's crazy, right?
That's bananas.
It's a huge problem, and it's not just bananas. Globally, a third of all produce is wasted before it even reaches consumers. It spoils too fast. We're talking wasted land, wasted water, wasted energy. The whole system needs some work.
So this isn't just about brown spots in our breakfast. It's way bigger than that, right?
It is.
But what can we actually do about it?
Well, with the bananas, a lot of it comes down to that browning process, and that's where the science gets really interesting.
Okay, break it down for me. Why do bananas even turn brown?
All right, so there's this enzyme called polyphenol oxidase, right? And when a banana gets bumped or cut, this enzyme mixes with oxygen and boom, brown pigments appear. It's basically like rust, but for fruit.
So this gene editing thing, CRISPR, how does that play into all this? Does it change the banana in any other way? Like, does it mess with the flavor or the nutrients at all?
That's a great question. And the answer is no, not at all. That's what's so cool about CRISPR. It's this gene editing technique that's super precise. It basically allows scientists to just switch off the gene that makes that enzyme.
So it's like we're literally editing a typo in a banana's DNA.
Exactly. And what you're left with is a banana that doesn't brown. It has the same great taste, the same texture, same nutrients, just a much longer shelf life.
So how much longer are we talking? Will this mean my bananas will stay fresh for, like, a week instead of 3 days?
Yeah. Well, the company behind this, Tropic, says these non-browning bananas stay fresh significantly longer than regular ones. Imagine, no more brown spots in your lunch bag, no more tossing out bananas that ripen too fast.
Yeah.
It's a win for your wallet and for cutting down on waste.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly.
So it's a win for us at home.
Yeah.
But imagine what kind of an impact this could have on, like, a global scale.
Absolutely, yeah. A longer shelf life means less waste during shipping, storage at the supermarket, potentially millions of bananas saved from landfills. Less waste also means less of an environmental impact, and it could even mean lower prices for you in the store. It's a big step towards a more sustainable system.
Okay, this is huge. I also read something about how this could change the game for pre-cut fruit. What's the deal with that?
Think about it. Pre-cut fruit salads that stay fresh for days. You know, no browning apples or bananas. It could be a game changer for grab-and-go foods.
That's so true. Those pre-cut fruit salads go bad so fast.
Right, and all that waste.
This would be amazing.
Non-browning bananas could make all kinds of new, fresh-cut options possible.
So businesses could offer more products, cut down on their waste, save money.
Exactly.
Everybody wins again.
Everybody wins.
But wait, Tropic's not stopping there, right? They're pushing things even further with shelf life.
You're right. They're working on bananas that stay green even longer by, like, tweaking how the banana makes ethylene, which is the ripening hormone.
Wow.
Bananas that stay green longer can be shipped farther, reaching new markets and potentially cutting down on transportation emissions.
That's crazy. So we're talking bananas traveling from, like, South America to Europe without going bad.
Exactly.
That is mind-blowing.
And that highlights how gene editing can tackle some of the biggest problems the banana industry faces. Speaking of problems, have you heard much about Panama disease?
Yeah, vaguely. It's that fungus that's wiping out banana plantations, right?
It's called Tropical Race 4, or TR4, and it's a nightmare. It infects the soil, wipes out entire plantations, and it can linger for decades. It's a huge threat to banana farmers and the global supply.
That's terrifying. What can we do about that?
Well, this is where gene editing really becomes a hero. Tropic is working on gene-edited bananas that can resist TR4.
So super bananas that can fight off this deadly fungus.
It's a big deal. It could stop TR4 from spreading, save countless plantations. It's a real beacon of hope for the industry.
This is all so incredible. Non-browning, longer shelf life, disease resistance.
Yeah.
It sounds like science fiction. What else is coming down the pike? Glow-in-the-dark bananas.
Not quite glow-in-the-dark. But there are some other exciting things in the works. Think bananas with even more vitamins and minerals, making them even healthier.
It's amazing how we can fine-tune these plants, huh?
It really is.
But honestly, it's a lot to take in. What about the safety of these bananas? I mean, is eating a gene-edited banana going to be okay?
That's a great question, and one that researchers have studied extensively. The consensus is that these gene-edited bananas are just as safe as the ones we're used to. The fact that they've been approved for sale in places like the US and Canada speaks volumes about their safety.
That makes me feel better. So, just to be clear, this isn't like the GMOs we've heard about before.
Not at all. Gene editing is way more precise. Like we were talking about before, it's like making a tiny change to the blueprint instead of adding something totally new.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So what does all this mean for the future of our food?
I think it gives us a glimpse into a world where we can use technology to create a food system that's sustainable, resilient, and packed with nutrients. And it all starts with something as simple as a banana.
Who knew that bananas could be so groundbreaking? It's really like a whole new world is opening up. But before we get too carried away, let's take a quick pause. When we come back, we'll dig a little deeper into the potential of these innovations. Stay tuned. We're back, and before the break, we were really geeking out about how gene editing could totally revolutionize our food system.
Yeah, it's pretty wild stuff.
It is amazing, but I gotta admit, all this talk about changing genes does make me kind of wonder, are there, like, any downsides to this technology?
That's a really smart question, actually. Anytime we're talking about something this, groundbreaking, we got to think about the implications, right?
Exactly. So, like, what are some of the concerns that people have about gene editing?
Well, one of the big ones is unintended consequences. Like, could changing a gene accidentally cause problems? Maybe for the plant itself, or for the environment, or even for us if we eat it. It's definitely something we need to think about, and that's why all of this research has to be really careful and follow those strict guidelines.
So it's not just about making sure that it works, but also about understanding any potential long-term effects.
Exactly, yeah. We need time, we need research, and we need open communication about everything scientists are learning.
Makes sense.
Another thing people bring up is, will this technology only benefit big companies? Like, will it leave smaller farms or developing countries kind of out of the loop?
Yeah, that's a really important point, too. We don't want to create a system where only the wealthy can access, like, healthier, more sustainable food, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
making sure everyone has access to these advancements is absolutely crucial. It's about giving farmers everywhere the tools they need, not just boosting profits for, huge corporations.
It seems like there's just a lot to consider, like the potential benefits, the ethical questions, making sure it's regulated properly. Where do we even start to figure all of this out?
Mm, that's a tough one. I think for me, it's about remembering that innovation and caution can go hand in hand. We can be excited about what gene editing can do while also moving forward with careful research and transparency every step of the way.
So it's about finding that balance between scientific progress and responsible development.
Exactly. And everybody needs to be a part of that conversation. Scientists, policymakers, people who buy and eat the food, and of course the farmers who grow it. We all have a stake in this.
You're right. It all comes back to our food, what we're eating, how it's grown, and how all of that affects the planet. It's a big deal.
Huge. Speaking of the future, when will we actually see these non-browning bananas in stores?
Yeah. I was wondering that too. Is it like a far-off thing, or will I be able to pick some up at the grocery store, soon?
Well, Tropic is already running field trials all over the place, and they've gotten approval in countries like the Philippines, the US, and Canada. So it's really not a matter of if, but when at this point.
So you're saying I could walk into a store sometime soon and buy bananas that won't turn brown in my lunch bag?
Totally. It's totally possible. And don't forget about those bananas with that super long shelf life.
Right.
Those are supposed to hit the market by the end of 2025.
Wow, it's actually happening. I'm starting to see how bananas could be way more than just a snack. They represent this whole new way of thinking about a sustainable and resilient food system.
It is exciting, isn't it?
It is.
And this is just the beginning. There's so much more to come.
Wait, there's more. What else is coming out of the pipeline in the world of banana innovation?
Oh, tons of stuff, think.
Yeah.
Disease-resistant bananas, bananas with even more nutrients, even bananas that are easier to harvest.
Easier to harvest. How do you even do that?
Well, they're developing what they call semi-dwarf banana plants. They're shorter, sturdier, so they don't get damaged as easily by wind, and they're way simpler for farmers to manage.
Like bonsai, but for bananas. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's incredible how we can change these plants on such a detailed level.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest, a part of me is still, like, a little skeptical about all this. It almost sounds too good to be true.
I get that, yeah. I mean, when something is this new, especially when it involves something as important as our food, it's natural to be a little cautious. But I think it's worth looking at this with an open mind, you know? Gene editing really does have the potential to solve some of the biggest challenges facing humanity, like food shortages and climate change. It's a tool that can be used for good, but we have to be responsible with it.
Yeah, you've definitely got me thinking. I am super intrigued by all the possibilities. This brings up a question for me, though. If we can do all of this with bananas, what about other fruits and veggies?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And researchers are already exploring gene editing with tons of different crops, all kinds. Imagine drought-resistant tomatoes, disease-resistant potatoes, even mushrooms that don't turn brown.
So we're talking about a future where our produce stays fresh longer, needs less water and pesticides, and can handle the challenges of a changing climate. Sign me up.
Right, it's a future worth fighting for. And gene editing might just be the key. But it's not a magic wand. It's going to take collaboration, innovation, and people being open to new ideas if we want a food system that works for everyone and takes care of our planet.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. We started with something as simple as a banana, and we ended up talking about a future transformed by science. Now, we've covered a lot of ground, but what does all this mean for you, the listener? We'll get into that right after a quick message. Welcome back. We've been on quite a journey today talking about these incredible non-browning bananas and how gene editing could change how we think about food.
Yeah, it's really been a fascinating deep dive,
It has.
you know. We've gone from the science behind browning to the global implications of a longer shelf life. We even talked about the ethical side of things and what it all means for the future of food, so.
It really makes you think. So for everyone listening out there, what's the big takeaway from all this?
I think one of the coolest things is that even something as, basic as a banana can be on the cutting edge of innovation. It shows how we can use science and technology to tackle these huge challenges like food waste and climate change.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes it's so easy to feel kind of overwhelmed by, all the problems in the world. But this stuff really gives me hope that we can come up with solutions.
Absolutely. And it reminds us that we have the power to make a difference with the choices that we make every day. When we choose to support companies that are working towards a more sustainable and ethical food system, we're a part of the solution.
So next time I'm at the store and see those non-browning bananas, I can feel good knowing that I'm not just buying a healthy snack, I'm supporting a better future for, everybody.
Exactly. Every choice has this ripple effect. When we support innovation, we're contributing to a world where there's enough food for everyone and it's accessible and it's grown in a way that respects our planet.
That's powerful stuff.
Oh.
But this goes way beyond bananas, right?
Yeah.
This is about changing how we view food and the role of technology in creating a better future.
Exactly. We've only just scratched the surface today. Gene editing, precision agriculture, all of these innovations are leading to a real food revolution. We're on the brink of completely changing our relationship with what we eat and how we grow it.
That's exciting and kind of scary all at the same time.
Yeah,
But it's important to remember that we're all in this together, right?
absolutely. The future of food is something that we create collectively. It takes farmers, scientists, consumers, and policymakers all working together.
So next time you're enjoying a banana, remember, it's not just a piece of fruit. It represents hope, innovation, and the potential that we have to create a better world.
It's a reminder that even small choices can have a big impact. Every bite we take is a vote for the kind of future we want to build.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the fascinating world of non-browning bananas and beyond. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep learning.